Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of News In-Depth. We have two segments. This is the first segment that you're watching right now. I'm with Gene Mancebo, General Manager of the Amador Water Agency. How you doing, Gene?
I'm doing great. Thank you, Tom.
Seems like we talk a lot, don't we?
Well, from time to time.
Okay, and we also have done quite a few stories on the Amador Water Agency. Quite frankly, it seems to me like we talk about it so much that it's almost confusing.
Well, hopefully we can have some discussions. We can try to untangle some of those confusions.
Okay, and I think that becomes because it seems like whenever you get it in your mind and it's straight, then the water agency, has another meeting and talks about it. And for some reason, I guess that causes your mind to go back over it again. And I guess if you have a mind that's looking at things and analyzing it, you have to go through the process one more time. And I guess that's what we'll have to do. Let me ask you an opening question, Gene. Like the CFD is a thing that we talk about a lot, and that's in the news right now. You're going out and talking to the different cities, I believe, about things like that. The other 2 weeks ago, I guess you talked to Jackson, and that's for the Community Facilities District. That's what that stands for. Okay. And the other thing that pops up in there, the acronym is the GSL, which is the Gravity Supply Line. Are these two things dependent on each other?
Well, they're not dependent on each other, but they do have some interaction. First of all, the CFD, the Community Facilities District, we have two of those that we're working on. One right now is in the Amador water system. That's the system that provides water to all 5 cities, either on a wholesale or retail basis, where we are gathering some upfront participation fee funds that help to reduce the rates, okay, by paying some debt service for those folks that would benefit from projects that are already built, like the Amador transmission pipeline that replaced the canal system. And so it impacts it, or at least what it does is it helps to reduce the needed revenue from existing customers by having that money come in through the collection of the CFD through taxes. The Gravity Supply Line project, we are also proposing to do a same type of an arrangement for customers in the upcountry area.
Okay, so since the two of them don't necessarily go together, all right, why don't we tackle the Community Facilities District first?
Sure.
Okay. Now, as I understood it, the Community Facilities District, you had a study, Bob Reed, I believe, and basically you said our water agency has these costs, and a lot of them apply to every water. I guess they were formerly, in a way you could look at it, they were independent water districts that the Amador Water Agency took over, so to speak, and had to run. And now it seems like you're trying to say, well, let's make it one entity, and then I guess figure out all our costs, divide them up for the commonalities, right. And then the things that aren't in common, then that will address certain areas, people that are using water from certain systems. Right. Am I saying this right?
Yeah, well, let me try to, I mean, I think you're on the right track. I mean, what we have, the agency has a number of systems that were kind of over the years, either we obtained them or we took over those systems or we were asked to operate and maintain them. Each of them were developed kind of with their own rate structures in mind, and over time, there's some, I would say, some benefit if we could take and look at those as a kind of a one system. And so we're looking at a rate structure where there's these commonalities between the two. And any time that we can share costs among systems, kind of an economy of scale, okay, we can keep costs down as low as possible for our customers. And that's really kind of part of the element here. Reduce redundancy, streamline the cost systems, the accounting procedures. Instead of a number of different accounting procedures and policies, if we can keep it all down into one system, we can reduce cost. And so that's part of all of this, is trying to have this overall system. But there are some things that are unique, like debt service for some systems. Those will need to remain the same. And so the debt service for the Amador water system that serves Jackson, Sutter Creek, Ione, Dry Town area, and City of Plymouth have some unique debt service as opposed to, let's say, a system in Comanche or a system upcountry. And so we need to keep those elements unique to the systems, but everything else are really shared. I mean, it's the same water treatment plant operators that go up and operate the systems, some of the same folks sending out the bills, so it makes sense to have more of an economy of scale and to share those costs amongst all our customers and keep the bills and the costs as low as possible.
Was that the idea when you picked up, the different systems? Basically, I would imagine the people, the ratepayers in that system, did they have an opportunity to Comanche say, look, we need to keep our own system, or was that just something that couldn't happen any longer, so it went to the Amador Water Agency?
Well, in the case of Lake Comanche, it was the county was operating and maintaining it, and they needed some help. They wanted to bring in an organization that was focused just on water and wastewater, and so they turned to the water agency to take over the operation and maintenance of the Comanche system. And at the time, there was a tremendous amount of need for infrastructure improvements. There were a lot of things that were failing. There were even violations that were going on in some of the systems, and so right away the agency was able to jump in and start making some changes and improvements and spending money, but to try to improve the system. And we have, the talents and personnel that we could immediately kind of dispatch to do those efforts. And that had a lot to do with why it was transferred to the agency.
Okay, so is this Community Facilities District, trying to get the Community Facilities District, is that like growing pains?
Well, I think of it more along the lines of a way to bring money in early to help defray the cost of what we're experiencing right now with the economy.
Okay, so to bring the money in early, I think what you're saying is that there's I believe, if I can get this right, projects that for homes that will be building out. I guess they're already penciled in, kind of projects that have passed. Mm-hmm. There's no houses there yet or anything like that, so there's nobody using the water, but these people are paying money into the system. Is that correct?
That's the idea behind the CFD. It's to get those property owners that are anticipating connecting to the system sometimes. Sometimes it's just one house, sometimes it's 4 homes on a lot, or maybe it's more. The idea is to take and to have them pay some of their fees up front so that we can now use that money to help pay down things like debt service, and reduce the impact on existing customers.
Gene, is that tied into a will serve? Like an idea of a will serve? Is there a direct correlation with these people that are paying early? Like, do they have a will serve?
Well, they may not have a will serve, or they may have a will serve. And a will serve is simply...
You might want to explain that a little bit.
Sure. The will serve is the fact that we would have some guarantee of service to those properties. Once they've gone through the whole land use procedure and they've complied with everything that the county or city requires of them, then they can apply for what we call a will serve from the agency, in which they get service, and there's pretty much, it can't be denied. In this particular case with the CFD, we'll agree for those elements that they're paying up front, they wouldn't be denied service, but only for those elements, not for entire water service. So, for example, the raw water pipeline, they're going to pay a participation fee or the component associated with that, and we won't deny them water service on a raw water capacity basis. And so there is a piece of it, if you want to look at it in the way of a will serve. It's kind of more like a conditional serve. There's other things they may have to do, but for those items they participate in, they would not be denied service.
Okay. Now, are the people that already have service in the different systems that are coming together under one rate structure, are they affected by the CFD?
Well, they benefit from it because by having the money come in early, it helps to pay down on some costs that they would otherwise have to shoulder all by themselves. Okay,
but they're in on it as well. The CFD, whatever costs that you have, they're a part of it too. So basically, I believe, I don't want to call them will serve people. What do you want to call them again?
Property owners.
Property owners that come in, that are waiting to come in, and you're getting the upfront monies for.
Correct.
They're not receiving service, but you're receiving their money or some money from them.
That is correct.
Now, what money do you get from them? The same amount of money that the person who now has service gets, less the cost of water usage?
Well, the monies that they're paying early are those portions of the impact fees or participation fees that they would pay just prior to initiating service. So kind of that one-time fee. So we're getting portions of that money up front. Those costs go towards some of the impacts that they would have on the system, and we can use those monies to pay for things like the debt service on facilities that were built to serve not only the existing customers but also these future customers.
Okay, now say where I live, if people, I guess if there's some empty lots around there, and will people that have an empty lot get a bill for the CFD?
In the case of the Amador water system, it's voluntary. So only those customers, only those property owners that want to participate can participate. If someone's not interested in participating, they're not required to.
Now that might be because where I live, and I think you have an idea where I live, is like some of us can be on wells.
Correct.
Okay, but if you're in like Jackson, I mean city of Jackson area, I'm not sure. I don't think they can have wells.
Right, they may not have an option to an alternative for a water supply,
Okay.
but in this case of the CFD, we're not requiring that they participate. It's voluntary, so if they would like to, they may, and there's a benefit to them as well as to the existing customers.
Okay, I believe we just have a few minutes. So it's voluntary to join this.
Correct.
Okay. When we come back, well, you've got that word, and this is a two-part series, and so you might have to listen to the second part to make complete sense out of this. But I think you've got a lot of information right now. So stay with us. There's more news on the other side of the break.
You're watching Amador County's local television network, TSPN.